Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Happiest Hour on Earth. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm your other host, Emily.
And if you're new to our channel, we are a Disney-themed podcast, so we usually talk about all things Disney, from the parks to the movies to the series to everything. But tonight, we're going to be talking about our favorite non-Disney places to vacation and visit. And so we obviously love going to Disney. We go at least once a year, but we have some really special places that mean a lot to us that we have been to once or multiple times, a lot that we want to revisit. And so we have a list here. The first section is going to be some places in the United States. And then after that, we're going to be talking about some places that we've visited and loved so much that live outside of the United States. And then we'll probably talk a little bit about some places that we've always kind of wanted to go or maybe revisit. And so we're so excited to talk about these. We'll be kind of talking about them quickly, because there's so much here.
We could talk about them forever, honestly.
Yeah, it could be a really long episode. But what we want to do is that if you hear of any place that we have been and you want to learn more about that place or have recommendations, let us know in the comments section below. If you're watching on YouTube, I believe you could actually do that on Spotify as well. And we could give you some recommendations, some tips, all of that good stuff. Also, if you hear about a place that we want to go and you've actually been there, feel free to write your favorite activities, places to eat, all of that stuff. Cannot wait to get into this episode. We actually didn't have an episode last week because we were in a different location. We were in Hawaii.
Good inspiration for this episode.
Oh,
as a
totally.
matter of fact.
Yeah, but we went to a new island in Hawaii. So we'll be getting into that right after this break. But without further ado, should we jump into this episode?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, so before we jump in, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button. And share the video if you want. If you hear of any place that your friends want to go or you want to go, definitely share it around. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, go ahead and click that follow button and rate us or review us 5 stars. That really means a lot and really helps out our show. So thank you in advance for that.
Yes, thank you so much. We are going to start this episode by talking about the place where we just came back from that has a very special place in our hearts, and that is Hawaii, as he mentioned. We have been to Maui previously. We have gone on 2 different trips to Maui for our honeymoon and then again, sort of for our anniversary.
Yeah, was it our 6th anniversary? It was 2019, so it was right before the world shut down, which was
That's 5
really
years
nice.
ago.
Was that fun? Oh my goodness.
So
crazy.
Not our 7th.
Or was our 3rd?
I guess.
Something like that?
I don't feel like doing math. We just celebrated our 8th, so you do
It's
the
been a
math.
while,
We went
yeah.
in 2019. But this time we actually went to Kauai for the first time ever, which was very special.
It was.
We were supposed to have gone when I was pregnant with our first son. And that was a very bad time to try and travel because it was the year 2020. And we had to cancel that trip. So we got to go back, or not go back. We got to
Finally go.
And we went with my parents and my younger brother. My parents had been before, absolutely loved the island, and were very excited to show us around and, be the tour guides. So we had an incredible trip. It was so much fun. We were there for a week, which we both agreed was a good amount of time to be there.
For sure.
We stayed in Poipu, which is the south side of the island, but we explored all around the island as much as we could in that time. We kind of went all over the place. We had a lot of favorites. We did one excursion. We would have done more, I think, but it just felt like a lot to be cramming into the trip because we definitely wanted to spend a lot of time with our boys and with family and just kind of, all together. So we did do one very fun excursion on our anniversary, and it was a rafting
tubing
adventure. It was like being on a whitewater raft, kind of like Grizzly River Run, if you know Disneyland Park, but it was on a tube. So it's like, you get your own tube, and it's like a whole tour group of people, and you all just like float down together, and it was so fun, so relaxing.
It's like an action-packed lazy river.
Yeah.
So we love lazy rivers. And this one was
gosh.
like a real life
lazy
river,
one. Going through
really
tunnels cool. And, you're constantly like bumping into other people around you. It was like a little crazy, but it was so much fun.
It's amazing.
We had the best time. It was backcountry
adventures. Kauai backcountry adventures, I believe. Yeah.
Highly recommended. It was really fun. But we did some other fun things. I'll just brush through some of them. We visited quite a few of the beaches.
Yeah.
In surrounding towns. I mean, obviously there's a beach front in like any of the towns that you go to in Hawaii, but a favorite was Honolulu. That's more the north side of the island.
Yeah,
I'm pretty,
I believe so.
pretty positive. And it is a beautiful little town and beautiful beaches. I mean, it was so, I don't know, man, I wish that we could have spent more time there, to be honest. The ocean there was just so
it was perfect.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Like the further up that we had driven, it just, man, it was gorgeous. So I would go back there and spend some more time for sure. But
totally.
Yeah, we did so much fun stuff. We relaxed a lot at our resort, the pool, pretty much in Hawaii, it's about relaxing, swimming, eating good food, having good drinks. We had a lot of good coffee. It was a blast.
It was so amazing. And yeah, you can, that's the cool thing about Hawaii. If you want to do the more adventurous things, you definitely can go and do that. When we went, and we'll talk about that in a second, to Maui for our honeymoon and our anniversary, we did a lot of those crazy activities and hikes. Also enjoyed just relaxing at the pool with a Mai Tai. Next time we go to Kauai, there's a couple of things that we didn't get to do this trip, but we definitely want to go back. And that would be like the Nepali Coast boat tour. Yeah. The Nepali Coast is absolutely beautiful. We didn't have a chance to go over there again with our kids and naps and all that stuff. Just makes it, a little bit hard. But once they're a little bit older, I'd love to go back. There's like an ATV adventure that actually takes you through where part of Jurassic Park was filmed. And so those things were definitely on my bucket list that I want to do next time. But all in all, this trip, it was our first time with our boys on a flight. We have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and it went a lot better than expected. It was about 5.5 hours each way. For the most part, they did really good. We don't have to dig too deep into this. If you want some tips, though, on flights with kids, let us know in the comments below. Pretty much what it is a lot of new toys, lots of snacks. If they're older, screen time restrictions are kind of out the window.
It's all our older son
But we have some more tips. So definitely, if you are a parent and are nervous for a flight, let us know in the comments. We'll give you a lot of good tips there. But the other island, Maui, like we said, Hawaii has a very special place in our heart, especially Maui. That was our honeymoon and our anniversary spot. We stayed in Kihei the first time, which was so much fun. And then Kaanapali the second time, which is more like resort kind of part of the island. It's near Lahaina, unfortunately, with the fire and everything. We haven't gone back to see it, but I know there was a lot of devastation there, and we loved Lahaina so much. Such a great place to stroll, and local shops.
A lot of great restaurants.
Dining right on the water. It was so amazing. So I would love to go back and see it. But some of the things we did in Maui and some of the things that we tell people if we know that they're going to Maui, there's a volcano crater called Haleakala. And so a lot of people here.
10,000 feet elevation.
It's very high up there.
Way up there. It's freezing cold no matter what time of year you go, no matter what time of day you go. It is freezing.
Yeah, which is crazy for Hawaii. But the first time we went, we knew some people there and they said, you got to bike down this. We have some bikes and you got to do it. And so you're following the road. You're not just booking it down a volcano, but you are following the road, but you start above the clouds.
It's insane.
And you start with sweaters on and stuff. And so we hadn't ridden a bike in so long, so we were a little bit nervous, but we had the best times. You're going around on a paved road. You're going through the clouds and you're seeing like all the best views. And then halfway through, you take off your sweater because it's starting to finally get hot. And it's a good, like maybe 2 hours.
A couple miles,
and then you finally get down to the beach. But Haleakala, if you're not into bike riding, although we definitely recommend it, going there for sunrise or sunset is also so beautiful. We went for sunset. We just drove up, got to above the clouds, and just watched the sun disappear into the clouds. It's so cool to be above the clouds. It almost looks like an ocean with the blue sky, and then the sun's dipping down beneath the clouds. But it is so beautiful.
One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
It's so amazing. And then another big activity that we like to do that we did both times we were there is the road to Hana. And this is a very scary drive.
Very intense. Hope you're a good driver.
Yeah.
It can handle a lot of turns.
Just, if you go at your own pace, you're good. But there's a lot of times where it turns into a one lane for a second and it just gets a little crazy. But the road to Hana is amazing because there's lots of different swimming holes and waterfalls along the way. Mm-hmm. Hana is a town at the end of this road pretty much, but you could go online and search like road to Hana waterfalls or like scenic spots and they'll tell you the mile marker that you need to go. But we've stopped at a couple of waterfalls here, taking a little dip. We've seen the Black Sand Beach, which is the Wayanapa.
Yep.
And then at the very end of this trail, there's a national park. I'm trying to remember what it is, but the trail that you go on is the Pipawai Trail. I believe it's 2 miles in, 2 miles back, perhaps. Beautiful scenery and plants and all that as you walk along. Then you go through a bamboo forest, which is amazing. And then it ends at this 400-foot waterfall, maybe 200 or 400-foot waterfall. And it's just some of the best sights there. So definitely do the Pipawai Trail if you go to Maui. And then we've obviously, we've zip lined over there, snorkeled. It's just amazing. So there's a lot to do in Maui. There's a lot of amazing stuff to do in Kauai, but those are the two islands we have been to. One day we'll have to go to Aulani, but highly recommend Hawaii.
Yes.
And if you have any questions, definitely let us know below. But before we get to our next destination, we recently partnered with Audible to give our listeners more audio entertainment. As a listener of our podcast, you get a full free month of Audible, as well as up to 2 credits that you can use on premium titles that you keep forever. So even after the trial is done, you get to use them on multiple books that you've been wanting to read or listen to. We used our credits on One Little Spark by legendary Disney Imagineer Marty Sklar and Dream Chasing, which was written and will be narrated by Bob Weiss, who is another amazing Disney Imagineer. We cannot wait to listen to that one, as well as he documents and talks about his story over the past couple of decades working as a Disney Imagineer. That comes out October 15th, so we're really, really pumped to listen to that. So don't miss out. Find the link in our description below and get a full month free, as well as 2 free books with those tokens that you keep even after the trial is done. It's yours to keep. So go check that out below and enjoy your magical reads.
So moving on through our list, we're staying still within the US at this point, and another favorite destination city of ours is New Orleans. We have only technically been here once. I guess I went once before. Oh, yeah. You went there with me because I have family kind of in that area. But we went together a couple of years ago. I think that was also 2019.
I think it was 2019.
2019 was a big travel year for us. But we went for a family member's wedding to that area. And we had a very short time in the heart of New Orleans because we had to travel outside of it for the wedding. But we got one night and one full day and night. So we got in one night, kind of late evening. And then we had that night, we went out late. Very unlike us, especially nowadays, but we had kind of a later night going out. And then we had the whole next day and night to explore. So it
short time, but it really hit us. Like we were like, this place is
it won us
so
over
fun.
For sure.
So cool.
It was such a fun time, even though it was short. The first night that we were there, we spent a lot of time on Frenchman Street, which I didn't really know about, but I think we did a little bit of research leading up to the trip and figured out some of the fun places to go. And Frenchman Street was a blast. Yeah. So to compare, Bourbon Street is probably what most of you have heard of, and that is the Party Central, Vegas style strip of New Orleans.
Yeah, Vegas with New Orleans flair, pretty much. That's the crazy party scene.
It's pretty wild. We walked through there our second night, and it was it was a lot.
Fun, but it was crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, not every single place is that crazy, but it's more that vibe. I think we would definitely say that we enjoyed Frenchman Street more because it was much more authentic New Orleans.
More about the music.
Yes. A lot of jazz anywhere you went. Just fun vibes everywhere. And what we've heard is that Frenchman Street is kind of how Bourbon Street used to be before it became the party street of
Mhm.
New
Yeah, it
Orleans.
became so commercialized. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like Frenchman Street. So we really, really enjoyed Frenchman Street the most
Mhm.
out of the two fun
Parties. Yeah.
cities.
Frenchman Street, I mean, just to give you an example of what that's like, you go there, there's bands in every single, building, every single club, and you could actually like grab a drink. If you're not done, there, you could walk around, try to find another, band you want to hear while you're just like walking with your drink and all this stuff. But it's just all the best jazz music you've ever heard. Like we would just went into one, walked out, went into another, and they're just the best musicians. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
You feel it. Like it's just so authentic.
Especially
and
if you're a La La Land fan and you started liking jazz because of the movie. Oh man,
Like
you're
us.
gonna be in like paradise there. It's so nice.
It's so fun. So those were definitely the places where we spent a lot of time, at least in the evening. During the day, we of course had to go to Cafe Du Monde, which is where the famous beignets are, as most of you know, I'm sure.
They're probably as good as Tiana's from Princess and the Frog.
I would say
I mean, like in the
better.
movie, Tiana's. Yes, they are better than Disneyland's beignets. We gotta clear the air.
there's beignets everywhere that you go in New Orleans, but that's definitely like the most
Cafe
famous
Du Mondes
spot.
are so good.
Cafe Du Monde is great. That's pretty much what we did. I think we just like walked around a lot, kind of bought
The
some
French
souvenirs.
Quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get to do a lot of, like excursion type things, but if we did go back and explore, I think we would definitely want to do a steamboat jazz cruise, which I did not know was a thing. I think we actually just recently discovered that.
Yeah, they do the steamboats, and we knew about that, but I was looking at, the steamboats just to look at them again. Yeah, there's a couple of them that do like jazz
Which
on
I
the
guess
water,
is kind
which
of
is
what
amazing.
they're doing in Princess and the Frog.
Mhm.
Remember when they hop
Yeah.
aboard the boat
And
Lewis
Lewis
is
is
like-
playing. Yeah.
yeah.
So
That
cool.
probably is what was going on. So I would love to do something like that. It sounds so fun. But aside from that, you can do swamp tours and cemetery tours, which is obviously very big. There's a lot of, voodoo-y type stuff in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So
And the
sounds-
cemeteries are like above ground over there just in case
Because of
of flooding.
flooding,
And so
yeah.
they take you on tours of some crazy cemeteries. So, that'd be pretty interesting for
Yeah,
sure. And a
but it
swamp
sounds
tour, I
fun.
want to see an alligator.
yeah.
I guess I could just go to Disney World to see that, but I would like to see a Louisiana alligator for sure.
Yeah. So there's a lot to do in New Orleans. It's such a incredible place. It's like, it feels magical like Disneyland, but just in its own way.
That's what I was going to say. If
you're
you're a Disneyland fan and you love New Orleans Square, being in the actual city where that's based off of does feel very magical,
Yeah,
especially with
it's a
Princess
Disney
and the
flair.
Frog. Yeah, you feel like you're in a Disney movie. It's so much fun.
It is. It's a blast.
So next up, this is one actually in California, and this
Probably
whole
the
area.
areas where we go the most.
Yeah, if we want like a weekend away, we want to see the beach. If we're missing Hawaii and we want to see the beach, this whole area is kind of where we go. And so Monterey, Santa Cruz, Carmel, all of that area. Usually when we go here, the water's way too cold to actually swim in.
Yeah.
So we like just catching the views, getting some really nice coffee, some food, just feeling close to the water. I think sometimes you need to be close to the water, breathe in fresh air. And so we like to do this a lot.
Yeah.
When we do kind of just weekend trips. So we have Santa Cruz. Of course, Santa Cruz is always fun. You could go to the boardwalk. However, being Disney snobs, we don't do too much there because it's just kind of the...
We used to. That
we
was
used
our
to.
spot when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
We were there all the time. And it's still,
It's-
I feel like
yeah,
has
it's fun,
a
but it's,
nostalgic
you know,
aspect
janky.
for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely not. It's not like Disney.
It's what Walt Disney would say. Remember, why would you want to build a theme park? They're so dirty and gross. And you're like, boardwalk, but a fun dirty and gross, right? It's like,
still
sorry.
fun to just walk around.
If anyone who works at the boardwalk hears that, I'm sorry, but there's a little bit of a
Not
difference.
Disney.
But yeah, one of our favorite things though to do here is go on West Cliff Drive. It's just this beautiful walk, really scenic views,
Along the water, but like up above. So the views
yeah.
are just stunning.
and also the views of the really nice houses that rich people live in.
The
Really fun.
favorite pastime of ours is literally just walking on this path and just like choosing which house we would pick if we could.
Zillowing them and seeing that it's
How
way out
much?
of our price range. It's
Yeah.
always so fun.
Some beautiful homes though.
Yeah.
Beachfront houses.
And then that leads to
Natural Bridges.
Natural Bridges,
which is another
at the very
beach.
end of it. Yeah, which is a really nice beach that you could go in, but it's really cold.
Yeah.
But another area that we've been recently going to is the wharf there. That's kind of at the end of the boardwalk and at the start of West Cliff Drive. Here, we like to get a lot of food here. There's a place called Mackay, something in Groggery.
Mackay,
It's like Mackay Groggery or something like that. Makes us feel like we're in Hawaii when we can't be. It's really cool.
It's like
Hawaiian
a tiki
food,
bar
tiki
restaurant.
bar.
Yeah.
And if you sit in the center, which is the bar, we didn't know this until we sat there. It actually spins, so everyone will catch a view of the water. And yeah, you
don't feel it at all, but all of a sudden you'll just be like eating and look up and be like, that wasn't what I was looking at a second ago.
It's really cool. We love that place so much. And then just a few doors down, there is Humble Sea Brewing, which is a great place if you want to have a nice cold beer. They also have like a food truck there. It's kid friendly, so you can bring your kids there. Just right on the water, and just having a brewski while you're looking out at the ocean is just really amazing. So we've been doing that a lot. There's also Pono Hawaiian Grill downtown.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like go to the ocean, pretend you're in Hawaii kind of thing when you can't be. Verve Coffee downtown, Cat and Cloud Coffee close by. We love just doing like foodie and coffee adventures.
Go to the beach. Yeah.
But then the downtown area there too is really fun. There's like a tea hammock bar that we haven't been to yet, but there's like a lot of funky stuff. Like Santa Cruz is really funky.
Very
so
funky.
you can definitely go there. Do you want to get Monterey?
Yes, we have definitely spent our fair share of time in Monterey. I feel like Santa Cruz and Monterey are definitely like our go-to spots.
Yeah.
If we're going to take any like weekend vacation, that's usually where we're going to go.
For sure.
But some favorites in Monterey, actually, the aquarium is the most like notable in Monterey. That's what a lot of people think of when they think of Monterey.
Yeah.
It's insanely expensive now. We haven't gone in a lot of years. But of course, it's an incredible experience. It's so fun, especially if you have kids. We'll have to do that at some point.
Yeah, I would love to go back.
It is really fun. Just be prepared to spend if you have, more than a couple people in your family. But it is a fun experience. And it is on Cannery Row, which is one of the most popular streets in that city. Probably the most popular. It's really fun. There's lots of restaurants and shops and, souvenir places. Just a fun area to go. And then kind of connected to that is just downtown Monterey, just kind of like up the street a little bit. A lot of fun places there as well. We love to go to Alvarado Street Brewery, which has great beer once again and really good food. Also, I feel like this is always where we go when we want to eat in Monterey. Some favorites for sure. Another brewery that is very close to there is also Fieldwork. Such a favorite. I don't know. Those
their
two
parfait
sours
are really good.
Sours
Those are like one of our favorite beers. So good.
Yeah. Alvarado Street and Fieldwork are top tier for me, for sure. But in terms of coffee, our favorite is called Captain and Stoker. That is it's a little bit of a drive. It's but out of downtown, but it's not too far. But it has great coffee and such a fun, like nautical vibe inside. Mm-hmm. So cool. Highly recommend.
So amazing.
And then back to the downtown area. If you like ice cream, you have to go to Revival Ice Cream. It is so good. So many good flavors. The best one is like a honeycomb. Is it honeycomb?
I think it's a honey. Yeah, it has honeycomb in it, which is amazing.
And it is delicious.
So good.
Every time we go, we have to get it. But there's lots of other good flavors there as well. Those are some favorites in Monterey. Yeah. And then Carmel is also really close by too. Beautiful. The downtown area is really, really quaint. Makes you almost feel like you're in a storybook. There's the beaches over there too. If you drive a little ways away and you want like some hikes with some good views, Point Lobos is really, really beautiful. Definitely just search Point Lobos and check it out. And it's such a beautiful walk. So yeah, very
all that
easy
kind of
hike too.
Yeah.
It's not like super long. I think maybe takes like 20 minutes or a half hour to get from like where you park to where the beach is. It's been a while, but I remember it being a pretty easy walk to get to though. That's a beautiful spot for sure. Yeah, it's so fun. So just that area we like to go. If you're in Northern California and you need just like a little bit of a getaway, that's kind of what we would recommend. Mm-hmm. Also, if you are in California and want something else, one place that we love to go to is Lake Tahoe.
which is right on the border of California and Nevada. We've been here a lot for bachelor parties and bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
I think within our friend group, we never wanted to get too crazy, go to Vegas and stuff like that. So Lake Tahoe was like the perfect middle ground. There's still like a lot of nightlife, casinos, things like that. But you also get the nature. You know, you have the lake in the summer. You also have like skiing and snowboarding in the winter. It's cool because it really switches depending on when you go. So we've done a lot of like jet skiing on the lake here. We haven't skied because I'm afraid I'm gonna break a bone and I'm not good at it. But yeah, we just love going here, getting a cabin, going with friends and family and all that stuff, get a cabin with a hot tub and just hang out in nature, getting some really good fresh air. There's a lot of good like breweries around here, really good food. There's like a speakeasy that we've been to a couple times. So it's just really fun. You can make it how you want it. If you want the nightlife, you could drive just a little ways away and get the nightlife. If you want just nature, you could do that too. We love Lake Tahoe, but all that to say, we haven't done too much in the United States, which is kind of funny. We have gone to other places. We've done the West Coast. We went to Portland, had an absolutely amazing time there, but we were not like experts on it. We did a couple of things. We haven't been in a long time as well. We've been to Arizona a couple of places, Nevada. I've been to Alaska, which I would love to take you there because that's one I definitely want to go visit again. Washington, have you done? Okay, I've done Washington, so we should go there. We are going there next year. So that'll be fun. And then on the East Coast, we have only been to Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, but we would love to experience more. And we're actually going to talk a little bit later on places that we have been wanting to go and meaning to go for a while.
And on that, I really, really would love to visit more places within the U.S. since we live here. So if you have any state or city within a state that is your favorite or it's just a fun place to visit, please let us know.
Please let us know.
That's going to be kind of, I think, a bucket list thing is just to visit some new states in the next coming years. Yeah.
But internationally, where have we been? Where have we loved? Emily, do you want to start with this? Because this was a bucket list for you as a kid.
Yeah. We've talked about this, I think, before on the podcast, but on our first trip international, we first went to Venice, Italy, which was somewhere that I had wanted to go since I was in high school. I don't know if I had written a paper about it or I think I was supposed to like choose a place and just like do some research on it or something like that. And I chose Venice. And yeah, ever since that time I had wanted to visit. So he made it happen. That was the first stop on our trip. I think we were there for 3 days.
Yeah.
Or so.
It was our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Right around that time. Yeah.
Yes. And it was magical, to say the least. I think.
By the way, we went there for 3 days. We didn't just go there and then head back. We had multiple.
Yeah. We went.
Were like they flew all the way out there for 3 days.
That was the only place in Italy that we went.
That was, and Bassano del Grappa too.
Yeah, I know, but like outside of that vicinity, there's a lot more places in Italy.
There is. We want to go. Yeah.
But Venice was a bucket list, so I'm so thankful that he made that happen. We got to explore so much. Just like getting lost in those alleyways and those canals is I don't know how to explain it. Like you get lost and you're like, I don't know where I am, but like I don't care because this is so magical.
Yeah.
Everything that you come across is like just picturesque. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's really like being in a storybook.
Yeah. Almost like Alice in Wonderland. You know, being lost, but you're always hitting like beautiful places. But yeah, you're going over water and through narrow walkways. It's so nice to get lost.
It's beautiful. And so in that time, we did kind of obviously the touristy things like do a gondola ride. That's just something you have to do. It is very magical. You get some sparkling wine and go through some canals and then kind of end up on the bigger part of the water. That was a beautiful experience. Yeah. Definitely kind of something that will always be like seared in my memory from that trip.
Yeah.
St. Mark's Square, that's kind of like the main area. It's a square. Yeah. There's the
palace there. Yeah, the basilica. There's the tower, the Campanile Tower, something like that.
Yeah.
Doge's Palace is close to there. Doge's Palace.
Doge. So we explored a lot of those places. got some good coffee, drank all the wine, of course. Had
Gelato.
pizza. Yeah, gelato, pasta and pizza, just all of the Italian things. And it was amazing. So
Yeah,
definitely would say visiting Venice
it was a dream.
Something you should do.
For sure. Next, on our second trip out to Europe, we went to Ireland, and Ireland, we had so much fun here. The people here are great. It's nice too, also knowing what people are saying for the most part, unless they have a very thick Irish accent, which I'm like, oh, I love hearing you talk, but I don't understand what you're saying. But the people are just like really, really fun. One reason why we loved it so much is there's so much amazing music. A lot of bars will have like traditional Irish music. They're playing instruments you haven't really seen before, and it's just a jolly time. I guess I have to use the word jolly. I mean, it really is. It's just sitting down at a bar and they're just playing the music. It's so fun. But we went to the Cliffs of Moher here. We stayed a lot of our time in Galway, really close to the Latin Quarter, and this was such a cool place. No cars are allowed, so you're just walking Irish, I think cobblestone streets, bars, restaurants, entertainment, street performers, all this stuff. Really, really cool. And then we went to Dublin as well, which was amazing. Wish we had a little more time in Dublin, but we went to the Guinness Storehouse. Would have loved to head up the Jameson distillery as well. We went to Trinity College and saw the Book of Kells, which is one of the oldest manuscripts ever, I believe. I think it's of like documented. Yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's like part of the New Testament. It's just really cool to see something that old. One of the oldest. Insane. I forgot when it was. I think it was 800 AD. Obviously, there's things from way back in the day, like tablets and stuff. But when it comes to like
actual preserved manuscript,
yeah, and it has like really beautiful art still that is still as potent. I don't even know if they've really messed with the pigment or the dyes and stuff, but
I don't think
really cool. And then we ended our night at Temple Bar, which it's an area. It's like a district, the Temple Bar, but then there's an actual Temple Bar, I believe.
Yeah.
It's like that red building. It's just so beautiful. And this was like the main stage of all Irish music. These performers in here, crowded. It's so crowded.
Very crowded.
So maybe don't go during a weekend, but even during the week, they have like incredible performers. We were just blown away. We kept looking at each other like, what is happening? These guys playing little flute and stuff with like guitar and like,
Irish
experience. It was the best. So much fun. So there's a lot to do here, and I would love to go back as well. Things I want to do next time: check out some new towns, more like countryside. There's also this place called Skellig Michael. I forgot what town you have to go to in order to take a boat there, but if you're a fan of Star Wars, this island, Skellig Michael, is the island of Octu that Luke is on when Rey shows up and meets him. And you could only go during very specific times of the year because the waves will be too rough. But you could go to this island, walk the steps that Rey went to, go to the top of the hill, see the domes that are there that have been there for a long time. I think there was like monks or something that live there. Definitely want to go there. But let's move on. Yeah. We're talking about
Croatia.
Yeah.
This was kind of such a random place that we decided to go. I don't really know what drew us to go there.
Yeah.
But this was also on our second trip. This was, I think, right before we went to Ireland. But we went to two towns in Croatia. We went to Zadar and Zagreb.
And most people, when they go to Croatia, go to Dubrovnik, which looks absolutely beautiful. And a lot of Game of Thrones was filmed here. But we chose Zadar and Zagreb due to what we wanted to see in the middle.
That's right. That's why we chose those two. I was trying to think what made us choose the cities we went to. But Zadar is a beautiful little like kind of coastal area in Croatia. Very like it just feels very like ancient. Like walking through kind of the main area. It's a lot of like stone all throughout.
Yeah.
To like enter that area. It's like a huge almost like brick like bridge thing kind of like entering the town. So fun. I'm like my memory is kind of hazy at this point. It was so long ago now, but obviously
really nice people. We had like a really nice meal there with the truffles by the water.
Right, that one.
We also had like a wonderful stay. Like our Airbnb there was crazy nice, but
yeah,
it was just cool, like
kind
living
host.
amongst the people.
I would definitely say that the people in Croatia were the nicest that I can remember from our trips international.
Yeah, they were really nice.
I would say we had a lot of very nice people, from like Ubers to our Airbnb host to our waiter. A lot of those stick out in my memory from that trip. So very kind people. I think we were there for a few days and then did a little road trip to Zagreb, which is, I think, the capital. But on the way there, we went to it's
Plitvica?
called Plitvica. Yeah. It's hard to pronounce a lot of those Croatian words, I will say, but the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
Yeah, so
ever.
Search this. It's Plitvice lakes. Plitvica lakes.
So it's like,
So cool.
I don't even know how to explain it. It's like multiple lakes that like lead into each other. An entire walkway that was created to walk like
it's just like a wooden walkway that intertwines with the waterfalls and the lakes and everything. So
yes, if you like, you can look it up if you want. We have lots of photos from it. If you want to message us, we'll send some to you. That was like one of my favorite experiences of all time. It's
beautiful.
The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like just so picturesque. So if you end up in Croatia, do not let your trip pass without going there. It is stunning.
It really is stunning. And then we stopped at this little town, I think before or after, called Rastoka.
It was right after, I think.
And it was really cute. It was like a town.
Tiny.
On
a river.
Yeah, like on a river. We didn't do
like
too much there because I don't think there was too much to do, but
we were really hungry.
Beautiful.
We were really hungry, so we ate at like the one and only place that we could find there.
Yeah.
On the water, like on this river. There was like a little restaurant built onto it, and we had the most basic meal of all time, but it was great.
It was great, yeah.
And yes, very, very cool, cute little town on the water.
Yeah. I loved it.
Short time
so
there.
random, but so cool.
Yes. And then we, from there, went on to Zagreb and spent another couple of days there. Main thing I can say is the food and drink.
There's this one street, which we definitely cannot pronounce.
It
was really fun, just like all the food and drink along that and like the shopping and everything. Yeah. We also went to the Museum of...
Oh yeah,
broken hearts or broken relationships or something.
Broken relationships,
which was very interesting and
it was like, it sounded so depressing to go into, but we were like, let's just do it because we were trying to find something to do that day. Yeah, it was very cool. It was very interesting. Sad, but like a very interesting thing to check out. So yeah. Zagreb was very fun.
Definitely
very fun.
Do you want to get Strasbourg here?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So the next one that we're going to talk about is Strasbourg, which is in France, kind of on the border of France and Germany.
Yeah.
I think it was only like a few miles.
And you could tell by the architecture. It's really German.
Yes. Not to mention Strasbourg sounds very mix of French and German. So we went here because, long story short, my old job, I knew a few women, some sisters who raved about this area. And I think we were just doing some research regardless on France and wanted to visit somewhere in France. Found it, ended up being there at the same time as these patients of mine back home. So we got to be with them part of the time.
Yeah.
But it is this beautiful, quaint, like Pinocchio inspired town.
It's
beautiful
like
architecture.
It's like Disneyland's Fantasyland, but real.
Yes.
Like it's so cool. It's super cute.
Like cathedrals that are just stunning. You know, all of the architecture is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
There's what is it? Little France or Petite France.
Petite France, yeah.
Was the area where we went one of the days where it just literally felt like you were walking around in Pinocchio's village. It's so beautiful. And yeah, it's very like, it kind of felt like we were in two places at once because a lot of it was very German inspired with the food and stuff.
Yeah, one of the reasons was to see those people, but we were already trying to go to like Disneyland Paris or just do a trip. And so we were like, why don't we fly in and out of Paris, go to Disneyland Paris, but then also check out this town. So from Paris, we took a little beautiful train ride to
like a
Strasbourg.
45-minute or hour-long train ride, I think.
And apparently Strasbourg is the Christmas capital of the world, I believe.
We were
so
not
Strasbourg during Christmas time is absolutely beautiful as well. But yes, the architecture, it was just so cool to like eat outside, admire all the beautiful Pinocchio architecture. It's so Pinocchio. It was really cool. That whole region, I think it's called Alsace.
Oh yes, that's right.
The Alsace region.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few cities in Europe that have that kind of feel, but we picked Strasbourg and really enjoyed our time there.
Fun.
So the last one here, I got to do a shout out because a lot of my family is from here. And so, yes, real quick on the Strasbourg thing, we went to Paris. We had an amazing time. Very short time because we did a day in Disneyland Paris and then I think just a day in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
We ate at a really nice restaurant with the most beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, I would really love to go back to France at some point. But yeah, I'm trying to think, is there any other? Oh, we went to London as well, but that was only for a day. We want to go back to London. But we don't really have too many. It was such a short time because that was kind of like our main hub before we went everywhere else. So England would be amazing, and Big Ben was boarded up, so we need to go back and see it. But we loved our time in London. But the last destination we had here is the small island of Malta, which is where my grandparents met on their way. They were going from Malta to the U.S. and they met on the boat coming over here. So I still have a lot of family over there. It's such a cool island. It doesn't really feel like anything else we've been to. It's very
hard
like
to say what it feels like.
Almost feels like Colosseum, Romy, like just very historical. And there's a couple movies filmed here and you could kind of get that vision. Like Gladiator was filmed there. Some of Game of Thrones was filmed here. Count of Monte Cristo. So very just like old, historic, and there's so much history.
So it is located between Sicily and Africa. It's like kind of such a random area, and it's the tiniest little island. It's actually the size of San Francisco, the whole island itself. It's very small, and it's definitely kind of a hodgepodge of areas. Like it's like I was saying, it's hard to say like what it really feels like there. It's kind of its own thing. Yeah.
And so if you want to go to a place that's, not the normal touristy destination, want to experience something new, you should definitely go to Malta. Beautiful cathedrals. And then if you're looking to swim, you got to check out the Blue Lagoon. We went to the Blue Lagoon, search it up. It's some of the most blue water you'll ever see. You take a boat over to, I think, Camino area, and you could just go over there, swim, have a good time. I think there's some boats that have like the clear bottom so you could see, but that is like such a beautiful area. Same with the Blue Grotto, which we took a little boat ride over there, and you kind of like go in some caves. That's where Count of Monte Cristo was filmed. And then I think you could swim over in that area too, but that water is just some of the bluest water I've ever seen as well. And then there's a whole bunch of historical things too. There's a lot of like World War II history here, but then there's also like this place called Hagar Quim. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but these have like, this area has structures, like monolithic structures that are older than the pyramids and Stonehenge. So there's just so much history over here, but go check it out. Look at all the places. We had a wonderful stay in Valletta when we were over there. I believe Gladiator 2 was filmed a little bit over there. And like just recently, I think it's coming out soon. But yeah, you could tell like it totally looks like Gladiator-esque.
Yeah. Now, anytime we watch movies that he can tell it's Malta. Oh yeah. He has to always look it up, and he's usually right. He can tell with the architecture at this point.
Yeah, we were just watching a show recently, Breeders, and the family goes on like a vacation to Malta. And they didn't say it at first, and I was like, "That's Malta. I know it. And I looked it up, and so they like spend their little vacation.
They say it. Like
later on they say it, but before they said it, I was like, "That's Malta. It's Malta." Yeah. So definitely a must, and one we'll have to take our sons there since they're 25% Maltese. 25%. I'm 50, so pretty cool. Actually, I have that tattooed on my leg.
He does. Malta. He got a Malta's one and only tattoo is the map of Malta on his leg.
Yep. and
Pretty cool.
one and only because it hurt. I don't like the pain of tattoos, but that's pretty much what we have for places. We have a couple of places we'd like to visit. I guess I could start with this first one.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. But some like coastal town on the East Coast. I think that would be so amazing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is Dan in Real Life. And they like stay right in like a coastal, I don't even know what state it is. Rhode Island or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. But just something over there, get a cabin, take it slow, see the cold coast, all of that.
I would love to go to like Maine, like Portland, Maine, or one of those areas on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Sounds so I don't know, just cozy. When I think of that, I just think of cozy.
Yeah, for sure. I would love, I mean, speaking of East Coast, I think it'd be really cool to see Washington, D.C., see all the historical places there. That'd be a great one to take our kids to, you know, learn about America,
there, for sure.
Singing Hamilton all the way. Some other places. Do you want to get some of these?
Yeah. I mean, like we said, anywhere in the U.S. at this point, I think we have a lot of exploring to do here. There's a lot I think that we would like to visit, but definitely let us know your recommendations. If you live anywhere or have visited anywhere that you really love, let us know. But outside of the US, we would love to go to Switzerland or Austria, I would say. Either or. I've heard that they're kind of similar, and Austria is maybe less expensive.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Greece. I would love to go to Greece. Santorini.
Oh yeah.
Sort of the traveling pants. Anyone?
Ayo.
Anywhere kind of on the countryside of England, like, you know, any little town like that would be amazing. I would love to go back to Italy. I would love to see the Amalfi Coast or anywhere on the coast of Italy. Tuscany, I've heard incredible things about. Rome, obviously, would be amazing to see. There's a lot of parts of Italy that I would love to explore. You
guys are our guides, okay? So if you have a place in the U.S. that we need to check out, write them down in the comments below. If you've been to a place outside of the U.S. that you love so much, please tell us. We would love to go visit and have a really wonderful time over there. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. It truly means a lot. I know we talk about Disney a lot, and I know this is very different from what we normally do, but thank you for following along on this journey. And October has started. We may have one or two spooky Halloween themed episodes. So if you're not following, go ahead and click that subscribe button or follow along so you don't miss those. Then we get into some holidays. We're going to have a lot of fun topics lined up. So definitely feel free to do that as it helps our channel so much. Again, Audible, if you want a free month and 2 books even after the trial ends, which is crazy. Our link is in the description below, so definitely go enjoy that. We just want to say we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all your support, and we will catch you guys next week. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys. See you then.